In this video, I'm going to talk about two simple strategies to bring back love. Probably you're living in the same house without any love, filled with fights and arguments. Probably you haven't spoken to each other for the last, God knows, probably a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You feel that your wife doesn't care about you, think about you, doesn't love you, or you're going through a separation and you feel that your wife is not bothered about coming back. Probably you are like some of my clients, students, your wife has applied for divorce or your divorce is already over. And you're saying to yourself that I've tried everything to bring back love and nothing has worked out. And if you are in this situation, then probably you have not done the two simplest things you're supposed to do if you want to bring back love. I'm going to talk about what they are and I'm going to explain them through examples how to implement it in your marriage. Continue to watch this video. Hi, Coach Val here, and I help men to revive their love stories and bring back love by teaching relationship science. And if you are somebody who is in the same house without any love, if you are going through a separation or you're going through a divorce, I want you to apply the two simple strategies that I'm going to teach you right now. So let us understand what these strategies are. So the first strategy, let's come to the mind map. The first strategy is called moving from being a hurt, somebody who is hurt, to becoming a person who is a hero. So let me explain what I mean by hurt to hero. See, our marriage is supposed to go through three stages. You would have heard me speaking about it in my other videos. You start with the romance stage where everything is perfect, and for some people this romance stage is quite long. For some people who are little unfortunate, the romance stage ends very soon. But no matter what your condition is, your romance stage is supposed to end and you get into something called a power struggle stage. In the power struggle stage, there are problems and situations that come your way and then they lead to fights and arguments, and at the end of all that you feel that your spouse has hurt you. Now I want you to understand that your spouse is your reflection. So if you feel that your spouse has hurt you, then your spouse also feels that you have hurt her. And because of this, this power struggle stage continues. Our mind says that why should I say sorry? Our mind says that how can she do that to me? And what happens to my spouse? The same thing happens to her. And we go deeper and deeper and deeper into hurt. And when we are hurt, there is a high possibility we hurt the person who has hurt us unconsciously. Let's say you had a huge fight and your wife informed her family and you got hurt with that. And when you're hurt, you're not going to go back and give her a hug and kiss and say, I love you and I care about you. Probably you will talk less. Probably you will not interact with her. Probably you'll give her a silent treatment. Or probably you'll get aggressive the next time any opportunity comes up. Not because you are bad, it's because you are hurt. And when she sees that, she also feels hurt, because one of the things I've not mentioned is a brain hides our mistakes. It is wired to hide our mistakes. So we are not able to see how we are hurting the other person. All that we can see is the other person hurting us. Now, most couples end with a miserable marriage, living for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, counting and recounting the hurts that are caused by their spouse, and their spouse does the same. There are some couples who feel that they have married the wrong person and that's why they are going through all this hurt, they get out of the marriage. So I don't want you to end up with either of these couples or neither of these couples. I want you to have a great marriage. Then what do you need to do? The first strategy is to get out of that hurt and become a hero, which is not very easy. So I'm going to talk about two simple things that I teach to my students. The first thing that I teach to my students is our marriage is like 6 and a 9. Every situation is like 6 and a 9. It means that if you look at a 6 from one end, it looks like a 6. If 6 is drawn on the ground and you're standing on one end, it looks like a 6. But if you go to the other side, it looks like a 9. So this is the first thing to understand if you want to become a hero. Hero is somebody who stops looking at the mistakes of their spouse. Not that their spouse has not made any mistakes or has not hurt them, but he stops, consciously makes a decision to stop at looking at the mistakes or the hurt that is caused by their spouse. And he says to himself, I want to look at the hurt that I have caused to my spouse. So, because there is a saying, right? Ek haath se tali nahi bajti. So, if my wife is responsible for what has happened, I'm also responsible. So, I'm not going to look at how my wife is responsible. I'm going to look at how I'm responsible for what is happening. So, I'm going to, that's the first step, that I understand that it's all 6 and a 9. The second strategy to become a hero is to go to your wife's side and look at the world from there. When we had that argument, how, what did I say that made my wife feel so hurt that she has to go to her family and tell them? And when her family got to know about it, as a father, as a mother, what they could have gone through just listening to their daughter crying in front of them. Now, when you do this, you become a hero. When you join our community of awesome husbands, this is one of the first thing that you will go through. And if you are somebody who wants to join this community, this is spread across the world. And if you want to join this community and learn relationship science, the first thing you got to do is attend one of my master classes. I'm going to give you the link on the screen, and I'm also going to give the link. It is very easy, coachval.co. You go to this link and register. I'm going to give you this link in the description as well as in the comment section. So this is the first step. You got to move from being hurt to become a hero. And what happens when you move from being hurt to become a hero? It will have an effect on your spouse. And for that to happen, the second strategy is really important. So what is the second strategy? The second strategy is you got to show up. That means you have gone to your wife's side, you have understood the pain your wife has gone through, and now you have developed an immense amount of love for your wife, immense amount of forgiveness for your wife, immense amount of understanding towards your in-laws. Now it's all good, but if you don't show it, then they will not know. And let me rephrase that. It's not show it. You got to show up. It is not saying too many things. It is them experiencing you. So let me go deeper into explaining what is this show up means. So the show up means basically three things. The first one is you depositing love rupees. Now please remember, maybe I've explained this somewhere else in the video, but please remember, no amount of kind deeds that you do from a heart that is hurt will bring back love. Let me repeat that. No amount of kind deeds you do from a heart that is hurt will bring back love. Oftentimes I hear a man saying that, whatever you are talking about, I've done it, but nothing has changed. You know why? Because you're doing it from a hurt heart. I call this hurt heart as a victim's heart. So if you do it from a hurt heart, your wife will sense it, that you're not happy doing it. It's not coming out of love. So if you're sowing hurt, then you can't expect to reap hurt. If you want to reap love, then you got to sow love. And the first step to sowing love is to understand why my wife is behaving the way she is doing. What is hurting her about my action? Which is not very easy to find out. That's why you have to go through all these relationship science courses. You got to learn a lot of things. So the first thing, as I mentioned, is depositing love rupees. So you have come out of that hurt mindset or the victim mindset. You have become a hero. Now you're depositing love rupees. So how do you deposit love rupees? Let me explain this concept very quickly. Every one of us, imagine that we have an emotional bank, and every person we meet opens an emotional bank account. And as you know, a bank account is opened by, okay, there is KYC, there is filling of the forms and all that kind of stuff. But one most important criteria is depositing. And in this case, a relationship starts on depositing love rupees. Depositing love rupees. And we deposit love rupees by basically doing five things. One, appreciation. The second one is gratitude. The third one is apology. The fourth one is request. And the fifth one is going to the other person's side or listening. So if you notice how your relationship started, in that first conversation that you had with your wife, you had implemented unconsciously few of the five things that I spoke about. And your wife did the same because your wife is your reflection. And that's how the emotional bank account in each other's banks was created. And after that, subsequently, you keep depositing through appreciation, gratitude, apology, request, probably gifts, and anything that made your wife feel that she matters. And she did the same. And you came to a point where you got married. Now, after that, what happened was, uh, because nobody has taught us relationship science, because we got into power struggle stage, we started having fights and arguments. And more fights and arguments we had, we started withdrawing love rupees. And the way we withdraw love rupees is by not being there for the other person, by not making the other person feel that they matter. And then obviously through criticism and defensiveness. And when we are withdrawing, we are just not able to see, because as I said, that our brain hides our mistakes. So the first thing to do is to consciously deposit love rupees, making my spouse. It's not, there's something important. It's not about writing long letters telling your wife that I miss you, you are the most important person in my life, you have really changed my life, without you I couldn't have lived. I'm not talking about that. Those are just hollow words from a guy who is desperate to get his wife back. What I'm talking about is appreciation here and now. Here and now. You meet your wife after 3 months and she talks to you for 3 minutes. You appreciate her. You thank her. Your wife picks up the call and you say, I want to talk to my daughter, and she does that. You thank her. You appreciate her. So here and the now. Request. Instead of saying, I want to talk to my daughter, you say, is it okay if I talk to my daughter? Request. Apology, not for what happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but apology for something right now. Something that has happened right now. Apology. And then go into her side. Whenever, let's say you're asking your wife after the relationship is built to a good extent through appreciation, gratitude, and all these kind of stuff, and you're asking your wife that is it okay if we go out for a cup of chai, but I understand that probably you're hurt so much that you don't want to come out with me. See, I told her what I wanted, but then I went to her side and told her that what is she feeling. Now this is the way you deposit love rupees, and when you consistently deposit love rupees, something magical happens. That is happening to so many of the men in our community. The love comes back, the understanding comes back, because relationships are built on this basis. Relationships are not built on talking about relationships. So more you deposit, more the trust is built. And more the trust is built, she'll also slowly start depositing. This is the second thing. This is the first thing. The second thing is the love currency I spoke about. So what's the love currency? The first thing is appreciation. The second thing is gratitude. Third thing is apology. The fourth thing is request. And the fifth thing is going to our side. Now, don't expect things to change overnight. This is one more mistake people make. I went to my wife and I appreciated her, but she did not talk to me nicely. She shouted and screamed at me. She brought up past experiences. Now let's understand this. From your wife's perspective, you are the defaulter of loan. Imagine that you are somebody like somebody who has taken a huge amount of loan. Now, when you go to your bank from where you have taken the loan and you're a defaulter, that manager is not going to welcome you and make you sit down and say that you are, would you like to have a cup of chai? Because you have come there to deposit 2000 rupees or 1000 rupees and you got a loan of, let's say, 1 crore. Where is 1000 and what is 1 crore? So from your wife's perspective, even that tiny kind of tiny deed of kindness is not noticeable because she is hurt. So you got to be consistent in doing this. The third thing is behaviors to avoid when you're showing up. So what is showing up? It's not about showing off. It's not about showing. It is showing up. So the behaviors to avoid when you're showing up, it is any kind of connection, any kind of meeting, any kind of conversation over the phone is showing up. The first thing to avoid is talking about your marriage. In a typical, except in India and few countries in the world where there is arranged marriages, all the other countries, you don't start with the arrangement. You start with the relationship. When you meet somebody in a workplace, you don't start with telling that person 6 months later we'll get married and from now to 6 months let's build a relationship. No, that never happens except in India and other places where we say that 6 months later we are going to get married. Today we'll have the engagement, commitment, and then we'll build the relationship. In a natural setup, and this is to do with all the other animals as well. Okay, so in a natural setup, the relationship happens first and then commitment happens. So the first thing is don't talk about the marriage. Marriage is commitment. Marriage is about uh, is is it about decision. Don't talk about the decision. You focus on the connection. So the first thing to avoid is talking about your marriage. Tell me the reason why you don't want to be with me. You're gone. You're talking about, tell me why you don't want to come back. You'll go into a negative tangent and things will go haywire. Tell me um, why you don't want to come back. I've changed. I've become a better person. I'm going to talk about it in the next segment. So don't talk about your marriage. Because in a love relationship, you don't talk about the marriage first. You build the relationship, and eventually there will be a time where it will be an appropriate time to talk about the marriage. The second thing is begging. In no condition, don't don't beg your wife. Because more you beg, the respect for you goes down. There is no begging saying that I miss you, I love you, I cannot live without you, my life will be empty. Come back, come back, come back. That is begging. Don't do it. It never works and it will never work. The third thing is asking for forgiveness. What's the difference? Asking for forgiveness is writing a long letter or sending a long email or making this long speech in order to get your wife back. That is asking for forgiveness. Apology is where here and the now. So, and without any expectations. The fourth thing is convincing. This is the most common one where we use lot of strategies to convince the other person. Why don't you understand? I've changed. I've become a better person. Think about the child. Give me one more chance. I am going to leave my parents. I'm going to be with you. All that is convincing. Don't do it. And the fifth thing is criticism and defensiveness. Your wife, let her criticize. Her criticism will come down as you listen to her. It might take one conversation, it might take 5 conversations, it might take 50 conversations. But that criticism will come down as she feels loved. But from your side, make sure you don't criticize, because the only way to bring back love is to get criticism out of the way. Watch any movie in the world. Whether you watch not only an Indian movie or an English movie, any genre, any language, when there is criticism and defensiveness between two people at a given time, at that particular moment there is no love between us. This is the law of nature. So avoid criticism and defensiveness from your side. So these are the two simple tips to bring back love. Now the third thing is there are final tips that I want to give you. The first tip that I want to give you is, for all this to work, you got to have a hero's mindset. If you do these things from a hurt mindset where you have not really understood the pain of your wife and you're only looking at the situation from your side, this is not going to work. Whether you appreciate her, whether you show gratitude, whether you apologize, you do whatever you want to, it is not going to work. So this is the first thing. The second thing is consistency. Consistency. There are many times some men want things to happen like that. Probably they are into a arranged marriage mindset where um, it took 1 month for that person to look for a girl, 2 meetings to have an engagement, and 3 months later he got married. It was tack, 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 tack. In relationship where the love has to build, you cannot force things. It is like farming. All that you can do is sow the seed, rather till the land, plow the land, sow the seed, water it. It will take its own time for the plant to grow. So you got to be consistent. You cannot expect miracles to happen initially. But when those miracles happen, like the way it is happening to so many men, you'll be surprised. Like, how can my wife was so angry at me, so aggressive towards me? Somebody who never, for years now, never gave me a hug, never gave me a kiss. How 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 is it possible that she has changed? She has changed because you have changed. She has become a heroine because you have become the hero of your movie, the romance movie. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much for watching this video. And before you go, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead, subscribe to this channel, click on that bell icon, click on the like button if you like this video. And then if there is somebody in your life, like your friends or relative or somebody who is close to you, who is going through a same struggle right now with his marriage, with his relationship, please do a favor to him. Share this video with that person, and let me promise you that you're not only going to transform his life, you're going to transform his whole family. There could be a 3-year-old daughter or a 5-year-old son who needs both mom and a dad. And you're going to give that 3-year-old or 5-year-old son or daughter their mom and dad who are madly in love with each other. And now go to the comment section and write down one thing that you have learned from this video. And in the next video, I'm going to teach you how to bring back love using 7 micro behaviors. As soon as the video ends, you'll find this particular thumbnail on the end screen. Just click on that thumbnail and watch this particular video. Until we connect again in the next video, as always, keep your love story alive. Bye-bye.